Hi there YouTube, I'm a very opinionated person and I just saw Maxine and it was pretty good. Before we talk about that though, I'm gonna just quickly give my thoughts on X and Pearl, cause I don't think they're all super far away in quality from each other, and my opinion on those will give you some more context for my opinion on this. I liked X enough, I guess. It's a nice, dumb, fun horror movie. A lot of the more negative aspects, like the shallow characters, work because of the genre and the style. It's got a couple of creative kills, particularly the one where a bunch of blood splashes on the car headlights and the shot turns red. I liked that quite a lot. There were some editing choices I did not like. I did think the whole thing was a bit generic, but it did enough different to keep me entertained from start to finish. Overall, it was fine, it was good, I liked it. I'd probably give it like 3 stars, 6 out of 10. Pearl was not my cup of tea, I have to be honest. I think that Pearl, in a lot of ways, both in terms of the plot and in terms of the actual quality of the movie, is very much just like femme Joker, which I mean for a lot of people isn't necessarily a bad thing. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's a very weak movie that I'd probably give a 3 or a 4, that has such a strong lead performance that it does ultimately carry the movie and lead to some standout sequences. But I firmly believe that if Mia Goth wasn't carrying this movie on her back, no one would rave about it the way they currently do. Because outside of her performance, what is there to like in this movie? There's some standout scenes, and in between everything is just a ton of filler that really doesn't add anything to the character. Like, yep, she's crazy, and she wants to be a star. I feel like we established these things. I feel like we established them in X, let alone in the 20 times this movie establishes the same information. Nobody talks like a person, everyone just explains their history and dynamics out loud to the audience. Every side character is just a plot device or an accessory. It doesn't add more depth to the character, which is the point of a character-focused prequel. And honestly, in my opinion, it leaves more questions than answers in regards to the plot of X. Like, actually, how the fuck did she talk her husband into, like, just being okay with all of that at the end of the movie? Like, seriously, like I want you to imagine the ending scene plays out past the cutting to credits. Like, how does that conversation go? Yeah, I don't know. Wasn't my thing, but I also don't think I'd call it bad because it is really carried by that lead performance. 2.5 stars, 5 out of 10. Maxine is by far the best in this trilogy. Once again, it has a very strong lead performance by Mia Goth. The plot feels a lot less one-note than Pearl and X did. I don't know, both of those movies are repetitive in a way. You kind of cycle through the same locations, and generally speaking, the movie's kind of just building up the same sort of action over and over again. This movie just feels like it has a lot more variety in that regard. A lot of the side characters are fun, if admittedly kind of not in the movie much, which I will touch on more later. The presentation is interesting enough. There's some well-framed shots. I think the color grading is pretty great. A couple of kills and some of the gore are a little fun and creative. It is not all sunshine and roses, though. Some of the dialogue is actually so groan-worthy. There's a bit where Maxine gets fake blood on her hand, and because of one of the other actresses on set, and the director also has some fake blood on her hand. And she's like, oh, we've all got blood on our hands now, and I cannot tell you how hard I rolled my eyes. This movie also definitely wastes talent. Like, there is an insane cast here, and with the exception of, like, Kevin Bacon, most of them don't really do anything. They're fun for what little screen time they have, and given that this is a pretty solo character-focused movie, I obviously wasn't expecting, like, some kind of ensemble here. But I don't know, I just feel like you could have done a lot with a lot of these actors, and they didn't, and that always annoys me a little bit. I will also say that the climax kind of fizzles out. Like, it starts off pretty entertaining, but it just kind of goes on a few too many minutes, and and you just, I don't know, I felt like it was losing steam right at the end. I will say though, the resolution right after the climax is great. sends you out on a pretty good note. So yeah, overall it was fun. I did enjoy it. I think I would recommend it. I'd probably recommend it even if you haven't seen the others. Like, I really only watched Pearl and X because people said they were good, and I thought that I might be confused watching this one if I hadn't seen those. And like, I honestly feel like this movie would work better if you hadn't seen Pearl and X. I don't know. Maybe that's just because I didn't really like Pearl and X as much as everyone else. Who's to say? Either way, I thought it was very good. I would give it a very strong, like, 3 stars, maybe a light 3.5. It's a 3.5 on my Letterboxd right now because my friend asked me to give it a 7 for her birthday, so I did that. So yeah, I guess it's a 7 out of 10. You should maybe watch it.